Chapter 1. The storm's fury. The wind howled like a beast unleashed, whipping through the dense forest that bordered the remote town of Silver Hollow. Elara Voss gripped the steering wheel of her battered old truck, her knuckles white against the cracked leather. Rain lashed the windshield in relentless sheets, blurring the narrow road ahead into a watery haze. She had been driving for hours, fleeing the suffocating grip of her past, a failed engagement to a man who had shattered her trust with his lies and betrayals. Marcus had been charming at first, but his true colors emerged in waves of control and deceit, leaving her emotionally scarred and desperate for escape. A T-28. Elara had packed what little she owned into the truck and headed north, toward the wild, untamed wilderness where no one knew her name. She sought solace in anonymity, a place to heal the wounds that ran deeper than skin. The radio crackled with static, warning of a severe storm, but she pressed on, determined to outrun both the weather and her memories. The town of Silver Hollow was supposed to be her fresh start, a quiet logging community nestled in the shadow of ancient pines. Far from the bustling city where Marcus still lurked, lightning cracked across the sky, illuminating the twisted branches overhead like skeletal fingers. Elara's heart pounded as the truck hydroplaned on a slick curve, tires screeching in protest. She slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The vehicle skidded off the road, plunging into a ditch with a bone-jarring thud. The engine sputtered and died, leaving her in darkness broken only by the storm's furious flashes. "Damn it," she muttered, her voice trembling. She fumbled for her phone, but the screen showed no signal. Panic clawed at her chest. The forest loomed around her, vast and impenetrable, whispers of wind through the leaves sounding almost like distant howls. She couldn't stay here. Hypothermia would set in quickly in this downpour. Grabbing her backpack stuffed with essentials like a flashlight, a change of clothes, and a few granola bars, she pushed open the door against the gale. The rain soaked her instantly, chilling her to the bone. Elara trudged forward, her boots sinking into the mud, aiming for what she hoped was the direction of town. Branches scratched at her arms, and the thunder roared like an angry god. She had walked maybe a mile when a low, guttural growl pierced the night, freezing her in place. Her flashlight beam swung wildly, catching a pair of glowing eyes in the underbrush. A massive wolf emerged from the shadows, its fur matted with rain, silver-gray coat glistening under the intermittent lightning. It was enormous, larger than any wolf she'd seen in documentaries, with muscles rippling beneath its pelt. Blood streaked its side, a deep gash, visible even in the dim light. The animal staggered, its breath coming in ragged pants, but its gaze locked onto hers with an intelligence that sent a shiver down her spine unrelated to the cold. Elara's mind screamed to run, but her legs wouldn't obey. Wolves weren't supposed to be this bold, this close to humans. Was it rabid, injured, and desperate? She backed away slowly, heart hammering, but the wolf didn't advance. Instead, it whimpered softly, collapsing onto the wet earth with a pained huff. Compassion overrode her fear. Elara had always had a soft spot for strays, perhaps a reflection of her own broken spirit. She approached cautiously, kneeling a few feet away. "Easy there," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the storm. The wolf's eyes, amber, almost golden, flickered with something like recognition, but that was impossible. It lifted its head weakly, sniffing the air toward her. "You're hurt," she said, more to herself than the animal. The wound looked fresh, as if from a fight or a trap. Blood mixed with rainwater, pooling beneath it. Elara glanced around. No help in sight. She couldn't just leave it to die. Stripping off her jacket, she tore a strip from her shirt underneath, fashioning a makeshift bandage. Her hands shook as she inched closer, expecting a snap or a lunge, but the wolf remained still, watching her with those piercing eyes. As she pressed the cloth to the gash, the wolf let out a low whine, but didn't resist. Its fur was surprisingly soft under her fingers, warm despite the chill. A strange sensation washed over her, a pull, like an invisible thread tugging at her soul. She shook it off as adrenaline. "There, that should help a bit," she murmured, tying the bandage securely. The wolf nuzzled her hand briefly, its nose cold against her skin, before its eyes fluttered closed. Elara sat back on her heels, rain streaming down her face. What now? She couldn't carry it, and town was still miles away. But as she pondered, the storm seemed to intensify, wind howling with renewed fury. Lightning struck nearby, splintering a tree with a deafening crack. She yelped, shielding her eyes from the sparks. When she looked back, the wolf was gone. vanished into the night as if it had never been there. Only the blood-stained mud remained as evidence. What the? Elara whispered, scanning the darkness. No tracks, no sign. Had it run off that quickly? Injured as it was? Shaken, she pushed onward, her mind racing. The encounter felt surreal, like a dream born of exhaustion. Finally, after what seemed an eternity, lights twinkled through the trees the outskirts of Silver Hollow. She stumbled into a small diner, the bell jingling as she entered, dripping water onto the checkered floor. The few patrons turned to stare, but a burly man behind the counter waved her over. You look like hell, miss. Storm catch you? Elara nodded, collapsing onto a stool. Car in a ditch. Phone's dead. Can I use yours? He slid a landline her way. Name's Hank. Tow truck won't come till morning, roads are a mess. Coffee's on the house. As she sipped the hot brew, warming her numb fingers, the door burst open again. A tall figure strode in, cloaked in a rain-slicked coat, his presence commanding the room like a force of nature. Broad shoulders, dark hair plastered to his forehead, and eyes those same amber eyes that had stared at her in the forest. But this was a man, not a wolf. He scanned the diner, his gaze landing on her with an intensity that made her breath hitch. He approached, his voice deep and gravelly, carrying a hint of authority. You're the one who helped me. Elara frowned, confusion knitting her brow. Excuse me? I don't know you. The man Thorne Blackwood, though she didn't know it yet, tilted his head, a faint smile tugging at his lips despite the pain etched in his features. He clutched his side subtly, where a fresh bandage peeked from under his shirt. In the woods, the wolf. That was me. Her laugh was nervous, disbelieving. Very funny. Look, mister, I've had a rough night. If you're trying to prank the new girl, no prank, he interrupted, his tone serious, eyes locking onto hers with that same pull she'd felt earlier. You bandaged my wound. Saved my life, perhaps. I owe you. The diner fell silent, Hank eyeing them warily. Elara's pulse quickened. This man was strikingly handsome, rugged with a jaw like carved stone and a presence that screamed danger and protection in equal measure. But his words were madness. Wolves turning into men? Impossible. Yet as he leaned closer, a scent of pine and earth enveloped her, stirring something deep within. Fate, perhaps? Or just the storm playing tricks on her mind. I'm Thorne, he said softly, extending a hand. And you are? Elara, she replied, hesitating before taking it. His touch was electric, sending warmth spiraling through her veins. She pulled away quickly, unsettled. Thorne nodded, as if committing her name to memory. Silver Hollow isn't kind to strangers, Elara, especially not in these woods. But you've earned my protection tonight. She wanted to dismiss him, to chalk it up to coincidence. But as he turned to leave, favoring his injured side, doubt crept in. Who was this man? And why did his eyes hold the same golden fire as the wolf's? Little did she know, Thorne Blackwood was the alpha of the Shadow Pack, feared by all who knew his name. A man cursed by ancient bloodlines, bound by the moon's whims. And in saving him, Elara had unwittingly stepped into a world of secrets, where destiny wove threads of forbidden love. The storm outside raged on, mirroring the turmoil brewing in her heart. Chapter 2. Whispers in the shadows. Elara stared at the door long after Thorne had vanished into the storm, his words echoing in her mind like a riddle she couldn't solve. The diner buzzed back to life around her, Hank polishing glasses, a couple of loggers murmuring about fallen trees, but she felt detached, as if the rain outside had washed her into some alternate reality. Her hands still tingled from his touch, a warmth that defied the chill seeping through her wet clothes. Friend of yours? Hank asked, sliding a plate of greasy fries her way. His eyes held a knowing glint, like he was in on a secret she wasn't privy to. She shook her head, forcing a smile. Never met him before. Just a weird night. Hank chuckled, low and rumbling. Silver Hollow's full of weird folks round here. Keep to themselves. That Blackwood fella? He's got a reputation. Owns half the timberland up north. Reclusive type. Best not to poke around. Blackwood. The name suited him, dark, unyielding, like the ancient forest itself. Elara nodded absently, picking at the fries. Her truck was towed by morning, Hank assured her, and he'd point her to the local motel. But sleep evaded her that night in the creaky room with its threadbare curtains. Visions of glowing amber eyes plagued her dreams, shifting between wolf and man, pulling at her with an inexplicable force. The next day dawned crisp and clear. The storm's fury replaced by a golden autumn haze. Elara retrieved her truck from the mechanic, a grizzled old-timer who charged her a pittance and warned her about wild animals in the woods. She found a job listing at the general store, part-time clerk at the local library, a quiet gig that suited her need for solitude. The town was small, insular, with whispers following her as the new girl from the city, but it was a far cry from Marcus's controlling grasp. And for that, she was grateful. She was shelving books in the dusty stacks when Thorne appeared again, as silently as a shadow. One moment, the owl was empty. The next, he loomed there, browsing a worn tome on local folklore. His coat was gone, revealing a fitted shirt that hugged his broad frame, the bandage on his side barely visible beneath. He moved with a predator's grace, every step deliberate, yet there was a subtle stiffness to his gait, a reminder of the wound. "Elara," he said, his voice a low timbre that sent a shiver down her spine. He set the book down, his amber eyes meeting hers. "Didn't expect to find you here." She straightened, clutching a stack of novels like a shield. "Thorne, small town, I guess. What brings you to the library?" "Researching. Wolves?" A faint smirk tugged at his lips, but it didn't reach his eyes. They held a guarded depth, shadows of secrets lurking beneath. "Something like that. Old legends. This area has a rich history, tales of guardians in the forest, bound by the moon." She arched a brow, trying to mask her unease. "Sounds like fairy tales. Or excuses for why people disappear in the woods." He leaned against the shelf, closer now, his scent of pine and earth enveloping her again. It was intoxicating, stirring, something primal she couldn't name. "Not everything is as it seems. You helped that wolf last night. Why?" Elara hesitated, her past flickering in her mind. Marcus's betrayals, the way he'd isolated her, made her doubt her own instincts. "It was hurt, alone. I know what that's like." The words slipped out unbidden, vulnerability cracking her armor. Thorne's expression softened, just a fraction. "Loneliness is a heavy burden. I've carried it for years." He reached out, his fingers brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. The touch was gentle, electric, but he pulled back quickly, as if burned. "You shouldn't be out there alone. The woods aren't safe." "Is that a threat or a warning?" she asked, her voice steadier than she felt. His proximity was overwhelming, a magnetic pull that made her heart race. Yet suspicion gnawed at her, his cryptic words, the way he seemed to appear and disappear like mist. "A warning," he replied, his gaze intense. "There are dangers. Packs that roam, territorial and unforgiving. Packs." The word hung between them, laden with implication. Elara's mind flashed to the wolf's eyes, so like his. But that was madness. People didn't turn into animals. Still, the coincidence unsettled her. "You talk like you know them personally." He chuckled softly, but it was laced with bitterness. "More than I'd like. Family ties, you could say." "Ancient ones." They fell into an uneasy silence, the library's hush amplifying the tension. Thorne picked up the folklore book again, flipping through pages yellowed with age. This mentioned soul bonds, connections forged by fate, unbreakable even across worlds. Elara swallowed, her throat dry. "Romantic notion. But fate's a cruel joke. It led me to someone who broke me." His eyes darkened, a flicker of anger, not at her, but for her. "Whoever he was, he didn't deserve you." The words were possessive, almost growled, sending a thrill through her. He stepped closer, his hand hovering near hers on the shelf. "Some bonds heal what others shatter." She met his gaze, searching for deception, but found only raw honesty mixed with restraint. It drew her in, this guarded man with his mysteries. "Why do I feel like I've known you forever?" she whispered, the question escaping before she could stop it. Thorne's breath hitched, his control slipping for a moment. "Perhaps you have. In another life." He turned away then, as if the admission cost him. "I should go. But if you need anything, protection, a listening ear, find me at the edge of town." The old cabin by the river. He left without another word, leaving Elara breathless and confused. The rest of her shift dragged, her thoughts tangled in him. Who was Thorne Blackwood, really? A recluse with a flair for drama, or something more supernatural? That evening, curiosity won out. She drove to the river's edge, the sun dipping low, casting long shadows through the pines. The cabin was rustic, smoke curling from the chimney. As she approached, a howl echoed in the distance, haunting, familiar. Her skin prickled. Thorne stepped out onto the porch, silhouetted against the fading light. "You came. I had questions, she said, stepping closer. The air between them crackled with unspoken tension. He nodded, gesturing inside. The interior was sparse wooden furniture, a crackling fire, books scattered about. But on the mantel, a silver pendant caught her eye, a moon encircled by wolves, glowing faintly. Sit, he offered, pouring her a mug of herbal tea. His hands were steady, but she noticed scars crisscrossing his knuckles, old battles. Perhaps as they talked, the conversation flowed unexpectedly. Elara shared fragments of her past, the engagement that crumbled under Marcus's lies, the emotional scars that made trust a fragile thing. Thorne listened, his presence a solid anchor. In turn, he spoke of his own isolation, leading a family that demanded everything, a curse that bound him to the land. A curse? She probed, leaning forward. He hesitated, his eyes flickering to the window where the moon was rising, full and luminous. Old bloodlines. Responsibilities that chain you. The howl sounded again, closer this time. Thorne tensed, his jaw clenching. You should go. It's not safe after dark. But as she rose, a shadow moved outside, a glimpse of fur, eyes glowing. Her heart pounded. Thorne, what's out there? He stood, blocking the door, his body radiating protectiveness. Nothing you need to face alone. His hand cupped her cheek, thumb tracing her skin. The touch ignited a fire within, a bond deepening despite the secrets. As she drove away, the moon illuminated the forest, and in her rear view, she swore she saw a wolf watching, amber eyes locked on her retreating lights. Suspicion bloomed into curiosity, pulling her deeper into Thorne's world. Little did she know, the full moon's pull was awakening something ancient, a fate that would force choices between her human life and a love born of the wild. Chapter 3. Echoes of the moon. Elara's truck rumbled down the dirt road, the cabin's warm glow fading in her mirrors. The wolf's silhouette lingered in her mind, its amber eyes mirroring Thorne's with eerie precision. She shook her head, chalking it up to fatigue and the moon's deceptive light. Yet, as she pulled into the motel's gravel lot, a restlessness stirred within her, a magnetic draw back to the forest, to him. Sleep came fitfully, haunted by dreams of running through pines, a shadowy figure at her side, whispering promises of belonging. The following days blurred into a routine in Silver Hollow. Elara threw herself into her library job, organizing shelves and recommending books to the sparse patrons. The townsfolk were polite but distant, their conversations laced with unspoken warnings about the woods after dusk. Blackwood's territory, one elderly woman muttered while checking out a mystery novel. Best stay clear, dear. He's not like us. Not like us. The phrase echoed, fueling her curiosity. Thorne didn't appear again immediately, but his presence lingered like a scent on the wind. Notes appeared mysteriously, a wildflower bouquet on her truck's hood, a handwritten map to a hidden waterfall slipped under the library door. Each carried his scent, pine, earth, and something wilder, untamed. They made her smile despite herself, chipping at the walls she'd built after Marcus. One afternoon, as golden leaves swirled in the breeze, Elara followed the map. The trail wound through the forest, sunlight filtering through canopy like scattered jewels. The waterfall cascaded into a crystal pool, steam rising from natural hot springs below. It was breathtaking, a sanctuary untouched by the world. She kicked off her boots, dipping her toes into the warm water, letting the peace soothe her frayed nerves. You found it. Thorne's voice emerged from the trees, soft yet resonant. He stepped into view, carrying a basket, simple fare, bread, cheese, fruits from the wild. His shirt sleeves were rolled up, revealing more scars along his forearms, like badges from battles unseen. He moved with that same graceful caution, as if always on guard. Elara's heart skipped, but she masked it with a teasing smile. Your notes are cryptic. Like you. He set the basket down, joining her at the pool's edge. I wanted you to see this place. It's sacred to my family. A spot for reflection. His eyes scanned the horizon, ever vigilant, before settling on her. You look like you needed it. She nodded, tracing patterns in the water. Escaping the past isn't easy. Marcus, he made me question everything. Trust, love, even myself. Vulnerability laced her words, drawn out by the serene setting and Thorne's quiet intensity. Thorne's jaw tightened, a low rumble in his throat that could have been a growl. Men like that prey on the strong because they fear them. You're stronger than you know, Elara. He hesitated, then added, I've known betrayal too. My pack, my kin, they expect loyalty without question. But it comes at a cost. Pack. There it was again, that word slipping through like a clue. Elara tilted her head, studying him. Pack? Like a family business? Or something more primal? He chuckled, but it was strained, his amber eyes flickering with restraint. Family, yes. Bound by blood, by ancient rules. The moon dictates much cycles of change, instincts that can't be ignored. He dipped a hand into the water, ripples distorting their reflections. It's a curse sometimes, forcing you to hide parts of yourself. The air thickened with unspoken truths. Elara felt that pull again, stronger now, like an invisible thread binding them. She shifted closer, their shoulders brushing. Why share this with me? A stranger? You're no stranger, he murmured, his voice husky. From the moment you bandaged that wound in the storm, I felt it. A connection, like fate's hand guiding us. His fingers grazed hers underwater, sending sparks up her arm. The touch lingered, tentative, as if testing boundaries. Elara's breath caught. Marcus had never made her feel this alive, this seen. But doubt crept and Thorne's secrets loomed like the gathering clouds overhead. Fate? I've learned not to trust it. It led me here, sure. But what if it's just another trap? He turned to face her fully, his gaze piercing. Not a trap, a choice. But I won't push. You've been hurt enough. Slowly, he withdrew his hand, though the reluctance was palpable. They ate in companionable silence, the waterfall's roar a soothing backdrop. Thorne shared stories of the forest legends of guardians who shifted under the moon, protecting their own from human encroachment. His words wove a tapestry of mystery, hinting at a world beyond the ordinary without revealing too much. As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows, a distant howl pierced the air. Thorne stiffened, his body coiling like a spring. We should head back. The woods change at twilight. Elara stood, reluctant to leave this bubble of intimacy. That howl, it sounds so close. Like the one at your cabin. He guided her along the path, his hand on the small of her back, protective, possessive. The pack calls. They sense intruders sometimes. Rivals from other territories. Rivals? She pressed, her curiosity piqued. Like poachers? Or something else? Something else, he admitted, his tone guarded. Old feuds, blood debts. It's why I keep to myself mostly. But with you, it's different. They emerged from the trees near her truck, the town lights twinkling in the distance. Thorne paused, cupping her face gently. Be careful, Elara. Not everyone welcomes outsiders. His thumb traced her cheek, igniting a warmth that spread through her. For a moment, she thought he might kiss her. The tension crackled like lightning, but he pulled back, eyes shadowed with conflict. Driving away, Elara glanced back. Thorne stood at the forest's edge, watching her go. As night fell, another howl echoed, closer, more insistent. In the moonlight, she glimpsed movement, a silver-gray form darting between trees, keeping pace with her vehicle before vanishing. That night, dreams intensified. She ran with the wolf, fur brushing her skin. Thorne's voice, whispering of soul bonds forged in ancient rites. Waking in a sweat, she wondered if the legends were more than stories. Thorne's wound had healed unnaturally fast. His eyes glowed in dim light. Suspicion deepened, but so did the bond, pulling her toward revelations that could shatter her world. Meanwhile, unseen eyes watched from the shadows, a rival shifter, scenting the alpha's growing attachment, plotting to exploit the human weakness in their midst. The full moon approached, promising transformations and trials that would test their fragile trust. Chapter 4. Veils of the night. Elara tossed in her motel bed, the dreams clinging to her like mist from the forest. The wolf's form blurred with Thorne's, their shared gaze pulling her into a whirlwind of fur and flesh, whispers of ancient bonds echoing in her ears. She woke with the first light of dawn, her skin flushed, heart racing as if from a chase. The full moon was drawing near. She'd overheard locals at the library muttering about it, locking doors early and avoiding the woods. Bad omens, one said. The beasts stir. Shaking off the unease, Elara headed to work, but her mind wandered to Thorne. His notes had stopped, replaced by an aching silence that left her questioning the connection she'd felt. Was it real, or just a rebound from Marcus's cruelty? She shelved books mechanically, her fingers lingering on a volume of myths, shifters cursed by lunar cycles, souls entwined in eternal dances. The illustrations depicted men with wolfish eyes, women drawn into their wild embrace. Coincidence, she told herself, but the pull toward the cabin grew stronger. By midday, restlessness won. She closed the library early, perks of a slow town, and drove to the river's edge. The cabin stood sentinel among the pines, smoke absent from the chimney, but Thorne's truck was parked outside. She knocked, the door creaking open under her touch. "Thorne?" she called, stepping into the dim interior. He was there, by the fireplace, shirtless and tending to a fresh scratch across his ribs. The wound was shallow but angry, red lines like claw marks. His muscles tensed as he turned, amber eyes widening in surprise. "Elara, you shouldn't be here." She froze, taking in the sight of him, broad chest scarred from old fights, a tattoo of a crescent moon inked over his heart. The air hummed with tension, his scent wrapping around her like a cloak. "What happened?" "That looks recent." Thorne grabbed a shirt, pulling it on hastily, but not before she saw the rapid healing of his previous injury, now just a faint scar. "Just a hunting accident. Nothing to worry about." His voice was gruff, evasive, but his eyes held a storm of emotions, relief at seeing her, mixed with fear. She crossed the room, ignoring his protest, and lifted the shirt's edge to inspect the scratch. "This isn't nothing. Let me help." Her fingers brushed his skin, warm and taut, sending a jolt through both of them. He inhaled sharply, his hand covering hers, holding it in place. "You're too kind," he murmured, his breath warm against her hair. "Most would run from a man like me." Elara looked up, their faces inches apart. "Why? Because of the rumors? The feared Blackwood?" Hank's words echoed, but Thorne's vulnerability drew her in deeper. "Tell me about your family. This pack you mention. Why does it isolate you?" He released her hand but didn't step away, the proximity building like a slow-burning fire. Guiding her to the worn couch, he sat beside her, the fire crackling to life as he stoked it. "It's complicated. My bloodline goes back centuries, guardians of these lands, bound by rules older than this town. The moon, it changes things, heightens instincts, reveals truths we'd rather hide." His voice dropped, laced with pain. "I've lost people because of it. Lovers who couldn't handle the wild side. Lovers." The word stung, jealousy flaring unexpectedly. Elara thought of Marcus, his polished facade hiding manipulation. Thorne was raw, untamed, yet his protectiveness felt genuine. "I've hidden parts of myself too," she confessed, her voice soft. "After Marcus, I built walls. He made me feel small, controlled. But with you, it's like those walls crack a little." Thorne's eyes softened, a rare vulnerability breaking through his guard. "You deserve better than walls, Elara. You're fierce, compassionate like the storm that brought you here." He reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. The touch was intimate, grounding, as if sealing an unspoken promise. Fate doesn't always cruel. Sometimes it heals. They sat in silence, the fire's glow dancing across their faces. Thorne shared more fragments, childhood tales of running free under the stars, the weight of leadership that demanded sacrifices. Being alpha head of the family means putting them first. Always. The word alpha slipped out, heavy with implication, but he covered it quickly. "It leaves little room for this." Elara squeezed his hand. "This?" Her heart pounded, the bond deepening with every shared breath. "Us," he admitted, his thumb stroking her palm. "Whatever this pull is, it's dangerous, drawing you into my world. Danger." The word hung, suspense thickening like fog. Outside, leaves rustled unnaturally, a low growl rumbling from the trees. Thorne's head snapped up, body tensing like a coiled spring. "Stay here," he ordered, rising swiftly. "What's out there?" she whispered, fear mingling with curiosity. He paused at the door, his silhouette framed by twilight. "Rivals. They sense weakness, my attachment to you." His eyes met hers, fierce and protective. "I won't let them near you." Thorne slipped outside, vanishing into the shadows. Elara peered through the window, her breath fogging the glass. In the dim light, she saw him confront a figure tall, snarling, with eyes glowing like embers. Words were exchanged, heated and guttural, before the intruder retreated. Thorne returned unscathed, but agitated, his shirt torn anew. "Who was that?" she demanded, meeting him at the door. "A challenger," he said tersely. "From another pack. They want what I protect, these lands, the secrets." He pulled her into an embrace, his arms strong around her. "You're part of that now, whether we like it or not." The hug lingered, bodies pressed close, heat building despite the chill seeping in. Elara felt safe, desired, but questions swirled. His rapid healing, the growls, the pack dynamics, it all pointed to the impossible. As night deepened, the moon rising fuller, she sensed the veil thinning, secrets on the brink of revelation. Driving back to town, Elara glanced at the rearview. A wolf shadowed her path again, watchful. Was it Thorne? The thought thrilled and terrified her. Meanwhile, the rival, Luka, lurked in the underbrush, plotting to use the human as leverage against the alpha. The full moon loomed, promising a night of transformations that could bind or break them forever. Chapter 5. Threads of Fate. Elara's drive back to the motel was a haze of conflicting emotions. Thorne's embrace still ghosting her skin like a promise unspoken. His arms had been a fortress strong, unyielding yet tender in a way that Marcus's controlling grip never was. The wolf in her rearview had vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving her to wonder if her eyes played tricks or if the forest held more mysteries than Thorne let on. The full moon hung low, bloated and silver, casting an ethereal glow over Silver Hollow. It felt alive, watchful, as if urging her toward truths she wasn't ready to face. The next morning, a knock at her door startled her from coffee-fueled reverie. Hank stood there, his face etched with concern, holding a small package. From Blackwood, he grunted, thrusting it into her hands. Said to deliver it personally. You sure you know what you're getting into, girl? She unwrapped it inside, a delicate silver chain with a pendant matching the one in Thorne's cabin, a moon encircled by wolves, cool to the touch but warming against her palm. A note accompanied it. Wear this. It will protect you from the shadows. Meet me at the old mill tonight. We need to talk. Tea protection? From what? The rival's snarling face flashed in her mind, the guttural exchange outside the cabin. Elara fastened the necklace, feeling a subtle hum, like energy pulsing through it. Superstition, she told herself, but it steadied her nerves. Work at the library dragged, patrons whispering about unrest in the woods and Blackwood's temper flaring. One old-timer eyed her pendant knowingly. That's an old talisman. Marks you as one of theirs. One of theirs. The words burrowed under her skin. By evening, curiosity and that inexplicable pull drew her to the abandoned mill on the town's outskirts, its rusted gears silent sentinels amid overgrown vines. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in bruises of purple and orange. Thorne waited by the riverbank, skipping stones across the water with precise, almost inhuman accuracy. You came, he said, turning with a relieved smile that softened his rugged features. His eyes lingered on the pendant, a flicker of approval warming their amber depths. Elara approached, the grass whispering under her boots. The note was cryptic. Like everything about you. She touched the necklace. What does this mean? Protection from what? He gestured to a weathered bench, and they sat, the river's murmur a gentle underscore to their conversation. It's a ward from my family's lore. Keeps away those who mean harm. His voice carried a weight, hints of ancient rituals unspoken. The rival you saw, Luka, he's from a splinter pack, exiled for his ambition. He sees me as weak because, Thorne trailed off, his hand clenching. Because of me? Elara finished, her heart twisting. She shifted closer, their thighs brushing, the contact sending a spark through her. I'm not weak, Thorne. I've survived worse than jealous rivals. He met her gaze, intensity simmering. I know, that's what draws me to you, your strength, your fire. After years of solitude, enforcing rules that chain me, you feel like freedom. His fingers traced the pendant's edge, grazing her collarbone. The touch was feather-light, intimate, igniting a slow heat in her core. Elara's breath hitched. Marcus had never spoken to her like this, never seen her as an equal. Tell me more about these rules. This curse you hint at. She placed her hand over his, intertwining their fingers, a bold move that felt right, natural. Thorne exhaled, leaning in until their foreheads nearly touched. It's in the blood. Generations ago, my ancestors made a pact with the wild for power, protection. But it demands balance, control over instincts, loyalty to the pack. The moon amplifies it all, forcing changes we can't always predict. His words danced on the edge of revelation, suspense hanging like the gathering dusk. I've fought it alone for so long, pushing people away to spare them the pain. Like your past lovers? She asked softly, vulnerability cracking her voice. Jealousy mingled with empathy, deepening their bond. He nodded, pain etching his features. They couldn't handle the truth. It broke them or me. His free hand cupped her cheek, thumb stroking her skin. But with you, Elara, it's different. That night in the storm, when you helped the wolf, it wasn't chance. Fate wove us together, a soul bond that defies logic. Soul bond. The term resonated, echoing the legends he'd shared. Elara felt it too, a cosmic tether, pulling her despite the warnings. I feel it, she whispered, her lips inches from his. But secrets scare me. After Marcus's lies, I need honesty. Thorne's eyes darkened, conflict warring within. Honesty could endanger you more. Luka smiles at the bond. He'll use it against me. As if summoned, a rustle in the bushes made him tense. His body shielding hers instinctively, a low growl emanated from the shadows. Eyes gleaming, Luka's perhaps, or another's. Thorne stood, a snarl escaping his lips that sounded too animalistic, to primal. Go back to town, he urged, his voice rough. I'll handle this. Elara rose, reluctance heavy. No more running alone, Thorne. We're in this together. She squeezed his hand before retreating. The pendant glowing faintly against her chest. As she drove away, the mill faded in the mirrors, but howls pursued her multiple now. A chorus building with the moon's rise. At the motel, she researched local folklore on her laptop, pages speaking of shifters, alphas claiming mates under lunar rites. Pieces clicked, suspicion crystallizing, Thorne's wounds healing overnight, his growls, the wolf sighs. Was he? Unbeknownst to her, Thorne confronted Luka in the mill's ruins, claws extending in partial shift, warning him off. She's mine, he growled, the bond fueling his rage. But Luka smirked, vanishing into the night with plans to force a revelation. The full moon crested, its pull intensifying, setting the stage for dangers that would test their growing trust to its limits. Chapter 6. Lunar whispers. Elara's laptop screen glowed in the dim motel room, casting flickering shadows across the walls. Pages of folklore blurred together, tales of men who walked as wolves, bound by the moon's inexorable cycle, their souls tethered to mates in rituals as old as the stars. The word shifter leaped out, descriptions of rapid healing, primal growls, and eyes that gleamed with otherworldly fire. It all mirrored Thorne, his scars fading overnight, the animalistic snarl at the mill, the wolf that shadowed her like a guardian. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, heart pounding. Could it be real? Or was her imagination, fueled by isolation and attraction, spinning fantasies? The pendant hummed faintly against her skin, a reminder of his gift. She touched it, feeling a surge of warmth, as if it connected her to him even now. Marcus's betrayals had taught her skepticism, but Thorne's honesty, partial as it was, chipped away at her doubts. He protected her without demanding control, saw her scars without pity. The bond grew, roots delving deeper with each encounter, yet the secrets loomed like storm clouds on the horizon. A knock shattered her thoughts. Peering through the peephole, she saw Thorne, his frame tense under the motel's flickering neon sign. She opened the door, the cool night air carrying his scent, pine mingled with something sharper. Like ozone before thunder. Elara, he breathed, stepping inside without invitation, his eyes scanning the room as if for threats. I had to see you. After the mill, Luka's circling closer. I couldn't risk waiting. She closed the door, turning to face him. And you came here? To town? The full moon was mere days away, its waxing phase already bathing the world in silver light. Thorne looked strained, beads of sweat on his brow despite the chill. He paced, his movements fluid yet restrained, like a caged predator. The pull is stronger now. The moon amplifies everything, instincts, bonds. He stopped, facing her, amber eyes locking onto hers with intensity that made her knees weak. I feel you, Elara, in my blood, like a call I can't ignore. Her breath caught. The folklore echoed in her mind, but she pushed it aside, focusing on the man before her. What does that mean? This soul bond you mentioned? She stepped closer, drawn by that invisible thread, her hand reaching for his. Thorne captured it, pressing her palm to his chest. Under her fingers, his heart thundered, wild and steady. It's rare. A fated connection, where two souls recognize each other across lifetimes. My people, the pack, believe it's unbreakable, a gift from the ancients. His voice roughened, vulnerability cracking through. But it terrifies me. I've seen it destroy those not ready for the truth. Elara felt the heat of him through his shirt, the scars beneath like maps of battles fought alone. Truth like your curse? The changes the moon brings? She probed gently, suspense thickening the air. His flinch was subtle, but she caught it, a confirmation unspoken. He pulled her closer, their bodies aligning in a way that felt inevitable. Yes, changes that make me more than human. protective instincts that border on possession. His free hand traced her jaw, tilting her face up. I don't want to scare you away, like the others. You've healed parts of me I thought broken my loneliness. The weight of leadership. Tears pricked her eyes, emotions swelling. Marcus had isolated her, made her doubt her worth, but Thorne built her up, his words a balm. You've done the same for me. No more hiding behind walls. She rose on tiptoes, their lips brushing in a tentative kiss, soft at first, then deepening with shared hunger. His arms encircled her, one hand tangling in her hair, the other at her waist, pulling her flush against him. The kiss tasted of pine and promise, igniting a fire that had smoldered since the storm. They broke apart, breathless, foreheads touching. Thorne's eyes glowed faintly in the low light, a trick of the moon or something more. Elara, if we pursue this, there's no turning back. The pack will sense it, Luka will exploit it. Let them try, she whispered, fierce protectiveness surging. I'm not running anymore. He smiled, rare and genuine, but shadows lingered. They spent the evening talking, curled on the bed, Thorne sharing pack lore without full disclosure, bloodlines tied to lunar phases, rituals under full moons that sealed fates. The alpha bears the heaviest burden, he said, his head on her lap as she stroked his hair. Choosing a mate means sharing that power and the dangers. Mate? The word sent a thrill through her, folklore, aligning with his hints. Suspicion deepened, but so did trust, the bond weaving tighter. As midnight approached, Thorne tensed, glancing at the window where the moon shone brightly. A distant howl pierced the night, answered by others, a symphony building. I have to go. The call is too strong tonight. Elara walked him to the door, their fingers lingering. Be safe, whatever you face out there. He kissed her forehead, lingering. You wear the pendant. It binds us even apart. With that, he slipped into the darkness, his form blending with shadows. Alone, Elara watched from the window. In the tree line, a silver-gray wolf emerged, amber eyes meeting hers before it bounded away. Coincidence? Or proof? Her heart raced, pieces falling into place. The full moon neared, its whispers promising revelations that could unite or shatter them. Meanwhile, Luka gathered his followers in the depths of the forest, scheming to force Thorne's hand. The human is his weakness, he snarled. Under the moon, we'll make her one of us or break their bond forever. The stage was set for confrontations that would test love against ancient secrets. Chapter 7. Shadows. Of revelation. The door clicked shut behind Thorne, leaving Elara in the motel's stifling silence. His kiss still burning on her lips like a brand. She touched them absently, replaying the moment the way his mouth had claimed hers with a hunger tempered by restraint, his body pressing close as if afraid she'd vanish. The folklore tabs remained open on her laptop, words like shifter and mate glaring back at her. The wolf's gaze from the tree line haunted her, its amber eyes identical to Thorne's. Suspicion coiled tighter, but fear warred with desire. Whatever he was, the bond felt real, a lifeline in her fractured world. Sleep eluded her, the howls outside swelling into a haunting melody that vibrated through the walls. She clutched the pendant, its hum of faint comfort, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. By morning, exhaustion clung to her like fog, but determination sparked. She wouldn't wait passively. Driving to the library, she delved deeper into local legends, pulling dusty volumes on Silver Hollow's history. Pages spoke of moon-cursed families, guardians who patrolled the woods in dual forms, their alphas destined for fated unions that strengthened the pack. It all pointed to Thorne, yet proof remained elusive, suspense gnawing at her edges. A text buzzed on her phone, unknown number, but she knew. Meet at the clearing by noon. Bring nothing but trust. Her pulse quickened. The clearing was marked on one of his earlier maps, a secluded glade deep in the forest. She closed the library, ignoring Hank's raised brow as she left. The drive wound through thickening pines, sunlight dappling the path like scattered gold. The full moon was tomorrow night. The air thrummed with anticipation, as if the woods themselves held their breath. Thorne waited in the glade, a picnic spread on a blanket, wild berries, fresh bread, a thermos of tea. He looked weary, shadows under his eyes, but his smile lit when he saw her. You came. After last night, I worried. Elara sat beside him, the grass soft under her. Worried I'd run? I'm done running. She took his hand, squeezing it. The contact grounded her, deepening the invisible tie. But the howls, the way you left, it felt like you were answering a call only you could hear. He poured tea, his movements deliberate, avoiding her gaze at first. The pack needs me. As alpha, I mediate disputes and force boundaries. Luka's incursions grow bolder. He challenges my authority, seeing my distraction as vulnerability. His eyes met hers, amber depths swirling with emotion. You, Elara, you're the distraction, the best kind. She blushed, but pressed on. Distraction or destiny? You talk of soul bonds, but hold back the full truth. I need more, Thorne. After Marcus's deceptions, half-truths feel like knives. Thorne set the thermos down, pulling her into his lap with gentle insistence. She settled against his chest, his arms encircling her, warm and secure. The truth is dangerous. It could pull you into a world of peril, rival packs, ancient rites, transformations that defy reason. His voice rumbled through her, intimate and raw. But denying this bond hurts more. I've been alone too long, guarding secrets that isolated me from love. Elara tilted her head back, searching his face. Scars etched stories of fights, but his expression held tenderness she'd never known. Tell me about your past. The lovers who left, he sighed, his breath stirring her hair. There was one years ago, Celine. She discovered the curse during a full moon. The shift terrified her. She fled, calling me a monster. Pain laced his words, but he held her tighter. I vowed never to risk it again. Until you. Your compassion in the storm. It awoke something dormant. Tears welled in her eyes. I'm not her. I've faced monsters, human ones. Marcus controlled, manipulated, left me doubting my strength. But you empower me. She turned in his arms, straddling him, hands framing his face. Their kiss reignited, slower this time, exploratory, lips parting, tongues dancing in a rhythm that mirrored their deepening connection. His hands roamed her back, pulling her closer, heat building despite the cool breeze. Breaking away, breathless, Thorne whispered, "This bond, it's physical, emotional, spiritual. My people say it's sealed under the moon, but it starts in the heart." He traced the pendant. "This marks you as mine, protects you from pack rivals. Luka would claim you to weaken me." Fear flickered, but resolve burned brighter. "Then teach me to fight. I won't be a weakness." He chuckled softly, pride in his eyes. Fierce as a Luna, the term slipped. Luna, queen of the pack in the legends. He covered it with another kiss. But suspense lingered. They ate, sharing stories, Elara of her city life, dreams crushed by betrayal. Thorne of forest freedoms, the curse's toll on his humanity. The moon pulls, heightens senses, urges shifts in form and feeling, hints dropped like breadcrumbs, leading her closer to the truth without full unveiling. As afternoon waned, a rustle interrupted. Luka emerged from the trees, flanked by two burly figures, eyes gleaming with malice. "Alpha," he sneered, "consorting with humans? Your weakness reeks." Thorne shoved Elara behind him, a growl ripping from his throat. "Deep, animal. Leave, Luka. This isn't your territory." Luka laughed. "The full moon rises tomorrow. Test your bond then, or lose her to the wild." The rivals retreated, but tension crackled. Thorne turned to Elara, urgency in his gaze. "Stay close tonight." The pull intensifies, escorting her back. He lingered at her truck, kissing her fiercely. "Tomorrow, truths will surface. Trust the bond." Driving away, Elara spotted wolves in the shadows, multiple watching. Her hand gripped the pendant, heart torn between love and the looming revelation. The full moon beckoned, promising shifts that could forge their fate or tear them apart. Unseen, Luka plotted a midnight ambush, aiming to force Thorne's secret into the light. Chapter 8. Tides of the Wild. Elara watched Thorne's figure recede into the forest from her truck, his broad shoulders swallowed by the encroaching dusk. The glade's peace, shattered by Luka's threat, lingered like a chill in the air, but the warmth of Thorne's kiss, fierce, claiming, anchored her. She drove back to town with a mix of exhilaration and dread, the pendant heavy against her chest, its subtle pulse a reminder of the bond he described. "Mate, Luna." The words from the legend swirled in her mind, aligning too perfectly with his hints. Yet, he held back, the secret, a veil she yearned to pierce, suspense building like the waxing moon overhead. That night, the howls returned, closer, more insistent, as if the pack sensed the impending climax. Elara barricaded herself in the motel, researching frantically. Online forums, whispers of silver hollows, cursed woods, sightings of massive wolves that vanished like smoke, tales of men who howled at the moon. It all screamed impossibility. But her encounters with Thorne, made denial harder. His touch ignited something primal in her, healing the fractures Marcus left behind. She texted him, "Can't sleep." The howls. "Are they your pack?" His reply came swiftly, "Yes, they're restless. Stay inside. I'll come for you at dawn." Dawn broke crisp and golden, the forest alive with birdsong masking deeper unrest. Thorne arrived as promised, his truck idling outside. He looked haggard, eyes rimmed with fatigue, but his presence filled the room like a storm about to break. "The full moon rises tonight," he said, pulling her into a hug that spoke volumes: protection, longing. "We can't ignore it anymore." Elara melted into him, inhaling his scent. "Then don't. Take me somewhere safe. Show me more of your world." He nodded, leading her to his truck. They drove deeper into the woods than ever, to a hidden grove ringed by ancient oaks, their branches forming a natural canopy. A small stream bubbled nearby, and Thorne spread a blanket, unpacking a simple breakfast. But food was secondary. The air crackled with unspoken tension, the bond pulling them together like gravity. They sat close, knees touching, as Thorne opened up further. "The curse, it's not just a story. It flows in my veins, a legacy from ancestors who bargained with nature for survival. Strength, senses heightened beyond human limits. But at a price. The moon demands release, a shift that blurs lines between man and beast." His voice trembled, vulnerability raw. "I've controlled it alone, but with you, it feels amplified. Like the bond awakens parts I've suppressed." Elara's heart ached for him. She cupped his face, thumbs tracing the stubble on his jaw. "You've carried this burden solo? No wonder you're guarded." Memories of Marcus surfaced, his emotional manipulations, the way he'd eroded her confidence. Thorne was the opposite, a rock, yet cracked enough to let her in. "Let me share it. Whatever this shift is, I want to understand." He leaned into her touch, eyes closing briefly. Understanding could change everything. "Luka prays on that he wants the alpha's throne, and a human mate makes me vulnerable." A low growl escaped him, involuntary, sending a shiver down her spine. It was too feral to real, heightening the suspense. Was this the edge of his secret? "Mate," she echoed, testing the word. "Is that what I am to you?" Thorne's eyes snapped open, glowing faintly in the dappled light. "Yes, the soul bond confirms it. From the storm, when you tended the wolf, my wolf, it sealed. But claiming you fully, it requires the moon's blessing, a ritual that binds us eternally." His hand slid to her waist, pulling her onto his lap. "It terrifies me, Elara, losing you to fear." Like Celine, she straddled him, bodies aligning in intimate familiarity. "I'm not afraid of you, only of losing this." Their kiss deepened, hands exploring hers under his shirt, feeling the rapid heal of old scars. His in her hair, gentle yet possessive. The grove faded, the world narrowing to them, breaths mingling in heated urgency. He broke away first, panting. "Not yet. Tonight under the moon if you choose." They spent the morning in quiet intimacy, walking the grove's paths. Thorne pointed out pack markers, carved runes on trees, scents invisible to her but vivid to him. "The wild calls stronger today," he admitted, tensing as a distant howl echoed. Instincts surged, protect, claim. Elara squeezed his hand. "Claim me how?" Curiosity burned, laced with desire. "In ways that heal us both," he murmured, kissing her knuckles. "But first trust." As noon passed, shadows lengthened, and unease grew. Luka's threat loomed. Thorne's phone buzzed with pack alerts, intruders scouting borders. "I must check the perimeter," he said reluctantly. "Stay here. The grove is warded." Alone, Elara wandered, the pendant guiding her like a compass. She found a stone altar etched with lunar symbols, stirring memories of her research. Shifters, transformations. A rustle made her spin. Luka stepped from the trees, smirking. Human, so fragile. Thorne's folly, fear spiked, but she stood firm. "Leave. This isn't your place." He circled, eyes predatory. "Tonight's moon will expose him. Join us, or become prey." A growl rumbled, his form blurring slightly, hinting at the shift without revealing. Thorne burst into the clearing, tackling Luka with inhuman speed. They rolled, snarls echoing, Thorne's strength dominant. Luka fled, wounded, but not before hissing. "The ritual will be your undoing." Panting, Thorne pulled Elara close. He grows desperate. "Tonight, I must reveal all." As they returned to the cabin, the sun set, the moon ascending full and commanding. Elara's pulse raced, bond unbreakable, but secrets teetered on the brink. The night promised transformation, love's test against the wild's fury. With Luka's ambush lurking in the shadows, Chapter 9, Eclipse of Truth. The cabin's door swung shut behind them, sealing out the encroaching twilight as the sun bled into the horizon. Elara's hand remained clasped in Thorne's, his grip firm yet trembling slightly, a telltale sign of the moon's mounting influence. The air inside was thick with the scent of wood smoke and herbs, a pot simmering on the stove from earlier preparations. Thorne moved with purpose, lighting candles that cast flickering shadows across the walls, illuminating the silver pendant on the mantel like a beacon. "Tonight changes everything," he said, his voice low and edged with urgency. He turned to her, amber eyes reflecting the candlelight with an unnatural gleam. The full moon's rise was palpable, a tidal force pulling at invisible strings. Elara felt it too, a restlessness stirring in her veins, as if the bond amplified her own senses. She stepped closer, placing a hand on his chest. "Then let's face it together. No more hints, Thorne. The Grove, Luka's threats, it's all building to this. Your shift, the curse. Show me." He exhaled sharply, pulling her into an embrace that bordered on desperate. His body was feverish, muscles taut under her touch. "I want to. Gods, I do. But once you see, there's no unseeing. The pack will demand acceptance. Luka will pounce on any hesitation." His lips brushed her temple, a soft kiss that deepened into something more, a slow, lingering exploration that spoke of years of pent-up longing. Elara responded in kind, her fingers threading through his hair, pulling him closer. The kiss built gradually, layers of emotion unfolding, trust mending her past wounds, desire igniting from embers to flame. Marcus's shadow faded further. Thorne's presence filled every void, his protectiveness, a shield rather than a cage. They sank onto the couch, bodies entwined, his hands mapping her curves with reverence. "You're my anchor," he murmured against her skin. "In the storm of this night, hold me steady." They talked in hushed tones as the sky darkened outside, the moon cresting like a silver crown. Thorne shared more fragments of his world, the pack's hierarchy, where the alpha's mate Luna held power to unite or divide. "It's not just love," he explained, his head resting on her shoulder. "It's fate's decree. The soul bond chooses, and the moon seals it in a ritual of blood and vow." His words wove suspense, hinting at the transformation without naming it, building the emotional bridge between them. Elara traced the moon tattoo over his heart, feeling its warmth. "And if I choose you, what then?" His eyes met hers, raw with hope and fear. "Then we bind eternally." "But the shift, it reveals the beast within. I've hidden it to protect you, but tonight, control slips." A low rumble built in his chest, involuntary, as howls erupted outside the pack circling. Sensing the ritual's approach, fear flickered in her, but the bond quelled it. She thought of the wolf in the storm, its wounded vulnerability mirroring Thorne's. "I've seen glimpses, the eyes, the growls. It doesn't scare me." "You don't." Thorne stood, pacing to the window. The moon bathed the forest in ethereal light, wolves' silhouettes prowling the tree line. "The pack gathers. They approve of you, your scent on me, the pendant's mark. But Luka challenges that." As if summoned, a sharper howl pierced the night, aggressive and close. Elara rose, joining him. "Let him come. We've built something stronger." Her words were brave, but inside, questions swirled. What exactly was the shift? Fur and fangs like the legends? The suspense clawed at her, deepening their connection through shared vulnerability. He turned, cupping her face. "Stay inside during the peak. I'll confront him first." But before he could move, the door rattled, a forceful knock, then silence. Thorne tensed, nostrils flaring as if scenting the air. "It's him." Opening the door revealed Luka, alone, but radiating menace, his eyes glowing with lunar fire. "Alpha," he sneered, hiding behind wards. "The moon demands a reckoning. Your human weakens you, let the pack see." Thorne stepped forward, blocking the threshold. "She's no weakness. The bond is true." A growl tore from him, deeper than before, his frame seeming to broaden, muscles rippling unnaturally. Elara's heart pounded. Luka lunged, but Thorne met him midair, their clash a blur of speed and power. They tumbled outside, snarls echoing as claws flashed in the moonlight. Thorne pinned Luka, but the rival twisted free, slashing at his side. Blood welled, but Thorne healed before her eyes, the wound knitting in seconds. "Thorne," she cried, rushing out despite his warning. The pack wolves watched from the shadows, eyes on her. Luka laughed maniacally. See, human? He's not man, he's monster. He shifted partially, hands elongating into paws, fur sprouting along his arms, a glimpse of the truth. Thorne roared, shoving Luka back. Enough, the ritual begins. He turned to Elara, pain and plea in his eyes. Forgive me. As the moon reached its zenith, Thorne's body convulsed, bones cracking audibly. Fur erupted, his form twisting from man to massive silver-gray wolf, the same from the storm. Amber, eyes locked on hers, intelligent, pleading. Elara gasped, staggering back. The secret unveiled. Werewolf, shifter, the legend's real. Shock warred with recognition, the bond pulls stronger, fate's thread unbreakable. But Luka howled triumphantly, rallying dissenters. The pack stirred, conflict brewing as the ritual loomed, forcing Elara's choice: embrace the wild or flee the truth. Chapter 10. The heart of the wild. Elara's breath caught in her throat as she stared at the massive silver-gray wolf before her. Its amber eyes, Thorne's eyes pleading for understanding. The transformation had been swift yet agonizing, bones reshaping with cracks that echoed in the silent forest. The full moon hung overhead, a merciless judge illuminating the chaos. Luka's mocking howl rang out, his partial shift a grotesque taunt, fur receding as he reverted to human form, smirking. The pack wolves circled the cabin's clearing, their eyes glowing in the lunar light, some curious, others hostile. Suspense crackled like the air before a storm. Elara stood at the precipice of a choice that could bind her to Thorne forever, or shatter the fragile trust they'd built. Her mind reeled. Werewolf. The word felt surreal, ripped from the pages of the folklore she'd studied. Yet the evidence was undeniable. Thorne's rapid healing, the growls, the eyes that haunted her dreams. Luka's words monster clashed with the tenderness she'd felt in Thorne's touch, his kisses, his confessions of loneliness. Her heart, scarred by Marcus's betrayal, urged her to run, but the pendant pulsed warmly against her chest, anchoring her to the bond that felt like destiny. Elara, Thorne's voice rasped, human again, as he staggered to his feet, half shifted. His body caught between forms, fur receding, muscles rippling back to human contours. Sweat glistened on his brow, his shirt torn from the fight with Luka. Please, don't fear me, Luka laughed, circling like a vulture. She sees you now, Alpha, a beast pretending at love. She'll flee, like the others. He addressed the pack, his voice venomous. He's unfit, tethered to a human who can't withstand the wild. The pack growled, some stepping closer, their loyalty wavering. Elara's pulse thundered, but she stepped forward, placing herself between Thorne and Luka. Enough. Her voice rang out, surprising even herself. I'm not running. I see him, all of him, and I'm still here. Thorne's eyes widened, a flicker of hope breaking through his torment. He reached for her hand, his touch grounding despite the chaos. You don't have to do this, he whispered, voice raw. The ritual, the bondage, a path you can't undo. She squeezed his hand, feeling the calluses, the scars, testaments to his battles, human and otherwise. I've spent years hiding from pain, Thorne. Marcus broke me, but you're rebuilding me. I choose you, beast or man. The words spilled out, sealing her resolve. The bond surged, a warmth spreading from the pendant to her core, as if fate approved. Luka snarled, lunging, but Thorne moved faster, shoving him back with a force that cracked a nearby tree. She's my Luna, Thorne roared, the declaration reverberating through the pack. The wolves stilled, some bowing their heads, others growling dissent. The ritual loomed, a lunar vow to cement their bond, but Luka's challenge threatened to unravel it. Thorne pulled Elara inside the cabin, barring the door against the pack's unrest. The candlelight flickered, casting their shadows long and intertwined. He cupped her face, his eyes searching hers. The ritual requires trust, blood shared under the moon, vows that bind our souls. It'll mark you as pack, as mine. But Luka will fight it, claim you're unfit. Elara's heart raced, but she leaned into his touch. Then we fight together. Tell me how. He kissed her fiercely, a collision of need and gratitude. Their bodies pressed close as if to merge. The kiss deepened, slow and deliberate, his hands sliding down her back, pulling her against him. She felt his heartbeat, wild yet steady, mirroring her own. Breaking away, he rested his forehead against hers. You're braver than I deserve, he murmured. The ritual is simple but sacred. We stand in the grove, offer a drop of blood to the altar, and vow before the pack. The moon seals it or rejects it, Rejects it? Suspense tightened her chest. The legends hadn't mentioned failure, but his tone hinted at risks unspoken. If the bond isn't true, the moon punishes. His voice dropped, haunted. I've seen it once, a false mate, driven mad by the wild's judgment. Elara swallowed, but resolve burned brighter than fear. Our bond is true. I feel it. She kissed him again, softer, sealing her commitment. They spent the next hour preparing, Thorne teaching her the vows, words, ancient phrases in a tongue that hummed with power. His hands steadied hers as she practiced, their connection deepening through shared purpose. As midnight neared, the pack's howls crescendoed, a call to the grove. Thorne led her out, his arm around her waist, protective, yet reverent. The pack parted, some eyes warm with acceptance, others cold with doubt. Luka waited by the stone altar, his smirk gone, replaced by calculating menace. Last chance, human, he sneered. Walk away, or the moon decides your fate, Thorne growled, his body tensing for a shift, but Elara stepped forward, chin high. I'm ready. The pendant glowed, its light mirrored by the moon's radiance. They knelt at the altar, Thorne slicing his palm with a silver dagger, then hers. Their blood mingled on the stone, shimmering under lunar light. By the moon's grace, Thorne intoned, I claim you, Elara, as my Luna, my mate, my heart. His voice trembled with emotion, the bond pulsing between them. Elara echoed, by the moon's grace, I claim you, Thorne, as my alpha, my mate, my soul. The words felt ancient, right? As if spoken across lifetimes. The moon flared, a pulse of light enveloping them. Elara gasped, warmth flooding her, the bond solidifying into something tangible, a thread of light in her mind's eye, linking her to Thorne. The pack howled in unison, most in reverence, but Luka's roar was defiant. She's no Luna, he shouted, shifting fully into a black wolf, lunging at the altar. Thorne shifted in a heartbeat, meeting him in a clash of fur and fangs, their battle a whirlwind of primal fury. Elara's heart seized, the bond urging her to act, but the pack's eyes held her, testing, judging. The moon's light intensified, and Luka faltered, collapsing under Thorne's dominance. The pack chanted, accepting the bond, but Luka's parting snarl promised retribution. As Thorne returned to human form, bloodied but victorious, Elara ran to him. Their embrace, a lifeline amidst the wild's judgment, the ritual complete, the bond sealed, but Luka's threat lingered, a shadow on their newfound unity. The night wasn't over, and the pack's loyalty hung in the balance, setting the stage for a final test. Under the moon's unrelenting gaze, Xi artifact. Artifacted equals 64.1596670409795C35638 EB78CO5. Artifact version it equals 65D313E26E42 DBC77OF98-21C for B8. Title equals double quotes chapter underscore 10 underscore she underscore was underscore forced underscore to underscore Mary underscore the underscore alpha underscore everyone underscore feared.md Conan type equals text markdown. Chapter 10. The heart of the wild. Elara's breath caught in her throat as she stared at the massive silver gray wolf before her, its amber eyes, Thorne's eyes pleading for understanding. The transformation had been swift yet agonizing. Bones were shaping with cracks that echoed in the silent forest. The full moon hung overhead, a merciless judge illuminating the chaos. Luka's mocking howl rang out, his partial shift a grotesque taunt, fur receding as he reverted to human form, smirking. The pack wolves circled the cabin's clearing, their eyes glowing in the lunar light, some curious, others hostile. Suspense crackled like the air before a storm. Elara stood at the precipice of a choice that could bind her to Thorne forever, or shatter the fragile trust they'd built. Her mind reeled. Werewolf. The word felt surreal, ripped from the pages of the folklore she'd studied. Yet the evidence was undeniable. Thorne's rapid healing, the growls, the eyes that haunted her dreams. Luka's words monster clashed with the tenderness she'd felt in Thorne's touch, his kisses, his confessions of loneliness. Her heart, scarred by Marcus's betrayal, urged her to run, but the pendant pulsed warmly against her chest, anchoring her to the bond that felt like destiny. Elara, Thorne's voice rasped, human again, as he staggered to his feet, half shifted. His body caught between forms, fur receding, muscles rippling back to human contours. Sweat glistened on his brow, his shirt torn from the fight with Luka. Please, don't fear me, Luka laughed, circling like a vulture. She sees you now, Alpha, a beast pretending at love. She'll flee, like the others. He addressed the pack, his voice venomous. He's unfit, tethered to a human who can't withstand the wild. The pack growled, some stepping closer, their loyalty wavering. Elara's pulse thundered, but she stepped forward, placing herself between Thorne and Luka. Enough. Her voice rang out, surprising even herself. I'm not running. I see him, all of him, and I'm still here. Thorne's eyes widened, a flicker of hope breaking through his torment. He reached for her hand, his touch grounding despite the chaos. You don't have to do this, he whispered, voice raw. The ritual, the bondage, a path you can't undo. She squeezed his hand, feeling the calluses, the scars, testaments to his battles, human and otherwise. I've spent years hiding from pain, Thorne. Marcus broke me. But you're rebuilding me. I choose you, beast or man. The words spilled out, sealing her resolve. The bond surged, a warmth spreading from the pendant to her core, as if fate approved. Luka snarled, lunging, but Thorne moved faster, shoving him back with a force that cracked a nearby tree. She's my Luna, Thorne roared, the declaration reverberating through the pack. The wolves stilled, some bowing their heads, others growling dissent. The ritual loomed, a lunar vow to cement their bond, but Luka's challenge threatened to unravel it. Thorne pulled Elara inside the cabin, barring the door against the pack's unrest. The candlelight flickered, casting their shadows long and intertwined. He cupped her face, his eyes searching hers. The ritual requires trust, blood shared under the moon, vows that bind our souls. It'll mark you as pack, as mine. But Luka will fight it, claim you're unfit. Elara's heart raced, but she leaned into his touch. Then we fight together. Tell me how. He kissed her fiercely, a collision of need and gratitude. Their bodies pressed close as if to merge. The kiss deepened, slow and deliberate, his hands sliding down her back, pulling her against him. She felt his heartbeat, wild yet steady, mirroring her own. Breaking away, he rested his forehead against hers. You're braver than I deserve, he murmured. The ritual is simple but sacred. We stand in the grove, offer a drop of blood to the altar, and vow before the pack. The moon seals it or rejects it. Rejects it? Suspense tightened her chest. The legends hadn't mentioned failure, but his tone hinted at risks unspoken. If the bond isn't true, the moon punishes. His voice dropped, haunted. I've seen it once, a false mate, driven mad by the wild's judgment. Elara swallowed, but resolve burned brighter than fear. Our bond is true. I feel it. She kissed him again, softer, sealing her commitment. They spent the next hour preparing, Thorne teaching her the vows, words, ancient phrases in a tongue that hummed with power. His hands steadied hers as she practiced, their connection deepening through shared purpose. As midnight neared, the pack's howls crescendoed, a call to the grove. Thorne led her out, his arm around her waist, protective, yet reverent. The pack parted, some eyes warm with acceptance, others cold with doubt. Luka waited by the stone altar, his smirk gone, replaced by calculating menace. Last chance, human, he sneered. Walk away, or the moon decides your fate, Thorne growled, his body tensing for a shift, but Elara stepped forward, chin high. I'm ready. The pendant glowed, its light mirrored by the moon's radiance. They knelt at the altar, Thorne slicing his palm with a silver dagger, then hers. Their blood mingled on the stone, shimmering under lunar light. By the moon's grace, Thorne intoned, I claim you, Elara, as my Luna, my mate, my heart. His voice trembled with emotion, the bond pulsing between them. Elara echoed, by the moon's grace, I claim you, Thorne, as my alpha, my mate, my soul. The words felt ancient, right? As if spoken across lifetimes. The moon flared, a pulse of light enveloping them. Elara gasped, warmth flooding her, the bond solidifying into something tangible, a thread of light in her mind's eye, linking her to Thorne. The pack howled in unison, most in reverence, but Luka's roar was defiant. She's no Luna, he shouted, shifting fully into a black wolf, lunging at the altar. Thorne shifted in a heartbeat, meeting him in a clash of fur and fangs, their battle a whirlwind of primal fury. Elara's heart seized, the bond urging her to act, but the pack's eyes held her, testing, judging. The moon's light intensified, and Luka faltered, collapsing under Thorne's dominance. The pack chanted, accepting the bond, but Luka's parting snarl promised retribution. As Thorne returned to human form, bloodied but victorious, Elara ran to him. Their embrace, A lifeline amidst the wild's judgment, the ritual complete, the bond sealed, but Luka's threat lingered, a shadow on their newfound unity. The night wasn't over, and the pack's loyalty hung in the balance, setting the stage for a final test under the moon's unrelenting gaze. Chapter 11. Moonlit Vousty Grove pulsed with the aftermath of the ritual, the moon's silver light bathing Elara and Thorne as they clung to each other. Their embrace, a fortress against the pack's restless energy. Thorne's chest heaved, blood streaking his torn shirt from Luka's claws, but his eyes still glowing faintly with the wolf's fire locked onto hers with unshakable devotion. The bond, now sealed by blood and vow, thrummed between them like a living thing, a golden thread weaving their souls tighter. Elara felt it in her core, a warmth that drowned out the chill of Luka's threats and the pack's divided gazes. Luka lay panting in the dirt, his black wolf form reverting to human, eyes blazing with defiance despite his defeat. "This isn't over, Alpha," he spat, staggering to his feet. "A human Luna? The pack will tear itself apart before it bows to her." He limped into the shadows, a few descending wolves trailing him, their growls fading into the forest. Thorne's arm tightened around Elara, his body shielding hers, as the remaining pack members most loyal, some uncertain, dispersed into the night. The air still crackled with tension, the full moon's peak amplifying every instinct. "They'll come around," he murmured, his voice rough but certain. "You're their Luna now. The bond proves it." Elara pressed her face into his chest, inhaling his scent, pine, earth, and blood. The reality of his werewolf nature settled over her, no longer a suspicion but a truth she'd embraced. Yet, questions lingered. How would the pack accept a human? What did Luka's rebellion mean for their future? Suspense coiled, but love anchored her. "I felt it," she whispered. "The bond. It's like you're part of me now." He tilted her chin up, kissing her softly, a contrast to the violence moments before. "You're part of me too. My heart, my strength." His thumb traced the pendant, now warm against her skin, its glow fading as the moon began its descent. "But Luka's right about one thing, the pack's divided. We'll need to prove your place." They returned to the cabin, the night quieting as the pack's howls faded. Inside, Thorne cleaned his wounds, Elara helping with steady hands despite the surreal weight of the ritual. As she bandaged a gash on his arm, her fingers lingered on his scars, each a story of battles fought for his people. "You've carried so much alone," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "No more. I'm here." Thorne caught her hand, pulling her onto his lap. The intimacy was effortless now, their bond a bridge over past betrayals. "You've given me hope, Elara. After Celine, I thought love was a curse worse than the moon's pull. But you're my salvation." His words cracked open his guarded heart, deepening their connection. She kissed him, slow and deliberate, pouring her trust into every touch. His hands roamed her back, possessive yet gentle, as if memorizing her. They spoke in hushed tones, the fire crackling as the moon waned outside. Thorne explained more pack lore, the Luna's role as mediator, healer, and unifier. The full moon's power to amplify shifts and bonds. The ancient rites that could strengthen or break a pack. "You're human, but the pendant marks you as chosen," he said, tracing its outline. "It's why Luka fears you. You challenge his ambition." Elara frowned, the suspense of Luka's threat resurfacing. "He wants your place. Will he try again?" Thorne nodded, his jaw tight. "He'll rally the dissenters, challenge us under the next moon. But tonight, we're safe." He pulled her closer, their bodies molding together on the couch. "Let me hold you, just for now." They lay together, her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat, wild yet steady, like the forest itself. She shared more of her past, Marcus's control, how he'd isolated her, made her doubt her worth. "You see me differently," she said. "Like I'm enough." "You're more than enough," Thorne growled softly, kissing her forehead. "You're my equal, my Luna." The term felt natural now, a title she was beginning to claim. Their bond deepened through these confessions, each word a brick in the foundation of their love. As dawn crept through the windows, casting golden rays across the cabin, a new howl pierced the quiet, not Luka's, but a warning from the pack's scouts. Thorne tensed, rising swiftly. "They've sended intruders, Luka's allies, maybe rogues. I need to lead the patrol." Elara stood, grabbing his hand. "I'm coming. If I'm Luna, I face this with you." He hesitated, protective instincts flaring, but her resolve won. "Stay close. The pack needs to see us united." They stepped outside, the forest waking under the fading moon. The pack gathered, some wolves bowing to Elara, others eyeing her warily. A scout reported, rogues had crossed the border, likely Luka's doing, testing the pack's strength post-ritual. Thorne shifted partially, claws extending, his growl commanding loyalty. We defend our own. Elara is Luna, protect her as you would me. The pack rallied, howls rising in unity, but Elara felt the weight of their scrutiny. The rogue's threat loomed, a final challenge to their bond. As they moved into the woods, Thorne's hand in hers, she sensed the wild's pulse, danger and love intertwined, demanding courage. Luka watched from afar, plotting his next strike, knowing the pack's acceptance of a human Luna hung by a thread. The dawn promised battles, both external and within. As Elara and Thorne faced their shared destiny. Chapter 12. Dawn's promise. Forest pulsed with the dawn's first light. Golden rays piercing the canopy as Elara and Thorne moved with the shadow pack. Their hands clasped tightly, a united front against the looming threat. The air was crisp, heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth, but an undercurrent of tension rippled through the wolves flanking them. Elara's heart thudded, the pendant at her throat humming softly, as if echoing the bond sealed under the moon. Thorne's partial shift, claws extended, eyes glowing faintly, marked him as more than human, yet his touch grounded her, a reminder of the man beneath the beast. The pack's acceptance of her as Luna hung fragile, and Luka's rogue allies prowled the borders, a final test of their unity. Thorne's voice cut through the morning mist, low and commanding. Scout ahead. Secure the perimeter. No rogue crosses our line. The wolves obeyed, dispersing into the underbrush, their forms blending with the shadows. Elara felt their eyes, some warm with loyalty, others cold with doubt lingering on her. She straightened, meeting their gazes, determined to prove her place. You don't have to do this, Thorne murmured, pulling her aside as the pack moved forward. His amber eyes searched hers, worry etched in the lines of his face. The rogues are dangerous. Luka stirred them into a frenzy, exploiting the pack's divide over a human Luna. Elara squeezed his hand, her resolve unwavering. I'm not just human anymore. I'm your mate, your Luna. I chose this us. The bond thrummed, a golden thread in her mind's eye, tying her to him across lifetimes. Marcus's betrayals had taught her to fear trust, but Thorne's love rebuilt it, brick by brick. We faced them together. His expression softened, pride and love mingling. He cupped her face, kissing her deeply, a slow, searing connection that spoke of shared battles and unspoken vows. You're my strength, he whispered against her lips, his breath warm. But stay close. The rogues won't hesitate to target you. They trekked deeper into the woods, the pack's howls signaling rogue sightings. Thorne explained the stakes in hushed tones. Luka's rebellion threatened not just their bond but the pack's stability. An alpha's strength lies in unity, he said, his arm around her waist as they navigated a rocky path. A divided pack falls to rivals or worse, to the curse's chaos. Elara nodded, absorbing the lore. The curse, he'd hinted, could unravel without a Luna's balance, driving shifters to feral madness. Her role as mediator loomed larger, suspense building as she grappled with its weight. What happens if the pack rejects me? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Thorne's jaw tightened, his claws retracting as he fought the shift's pull. They won't. The bond's true, blessed by the moon. But Luka's lies could sway the weak. His eyes met hers, fierce with protectiveness. I'll fight for you, Elara, always. Their moment was cut short by a scout's urgent howl. Thorne tensed, nostrils flaring as he scented the air. They're close. He led her to a ridge overlooking a clearing, where 3 rogue wolves prowled, massive, snarling, their eyes glowing with malice. Luka stood among them, human now, his smirk ablaze in the dawn light. Alpha. Luka called, voice dripping venom. Your human weakens you. Step down, or the rogues claim this territory in her. Thorne growled, his body coiling for a shift, but Elara gripped his arm. Let me speak. Before he could protest, she stepped forward, addressing the pack and rogues alike. I'm Elara, Thorne's Luna. I don't know your ways fully, but I know loyalty, strength, and love. This pack is my home now. Stand with us or leave. Her words, bold and clear, silenced the clearing. Some pack wolves nodded, respect dawning. Others hesitated, Luka's influence lingering. Thorne's pride shone through his tension, his hand finding hers. My Luna speaks truth, he declared, voice resonating with alpha authority. Challenge us, Luka, and face the moon's judgment. Luka laughed, shifting into his black wolf form, lunging with the rogues. Thorne shifted instantly, meeting them in a whirlwind of fur and fangs. The pack joined, loyal wolves clashing with rogues in a chaotic symphony. Elara's heart seized, the bond urging her to act, but she was human, unarmed, vulnerable. Yet the pendant flared, its warmth guiding her to a fallen branch, which she wielded like a staff, fending off a rogue that broke through. Thorne roared, pinning Luka, his dominance undeniable. The rogues faltered, some fleeing, others submitting as the pack's unity held. Luka shifted back, bloodied and defeated, his eyes burning with hatred. "This isn't the end," he snarled, slinking into the forest. The pack howled in victory, their loyalty solidifying around Elara and Thorne. As the sun rose higher, Thorne reverted to human form, pulling her into a fierce embrace. "You were incredible," he said, kissing her with a hunger that mirrored the battle's intensity. "You're truly Luna." Exhausted, they returned to the cabin, the pack dispersing to guard the borders. Inside, they collapsed together, bodies entwined, the bond, a lifeline. "I was scared," Elara admitted, her head on his chest. "Not of you, but of losing this." "Never," Thorne vowed, his fingers tracing her pendant. "You're my home, Elara." Their kisses deepened, love sealing the cracks of their pasts, but Luka's parting words echoed, a shadow of future threats. The pack's acceptance was won, but his rebellion simmered, promising new challenges. As they rested, the forest whispered of peace, but the wild's pulse hinted at battles yet to come. Testing their bond beyond the moon's light. Chapter 13. A new dawn. Cabin's warmth enveloped Elara and Thorne as they lay entwined, the fire's dying embers casting a soft glow across their faces. The forest outside was silent now, the pack's victorious howls fading into the dawn, but Luka's parting threat lingered like a shadow on the edges of their peace. Elara's head rested on Thorne's chest, his heartbeat a steady rhythm beneath her ear, grounding her in the reality of their bond. The pendant at her throat pulls faintly, a reminder of the lunar ritual that had named her Luna, binding her to Thorne and the shadow pack in ways she was only beginning to understand. Yet, the victory over the rogues felt fragile, and suspense hung heavy. Luka's rebellion simmered, a final challenge to their unity. Thorne's fingers traced lazy circles along her arm, his touch both possessive and tender. "You fought for us today," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "Not just with words, but with courage. The pack sees you now, truly sees you." Elara lifted her head, meeting his amber eyes, still faintly luminous from the moon's lingering influence. "I saw you, Thorne. All of you, man, wolf, alpha, and I'm still here." Her words carried the weight of her past. Marcus's betrayal's a distant scar compared to the love rebuilding her. "But Luka, he's not done, is he?" Thorne's jaw tightened, his arm pulling her closer. "No, he's banished, but his kind don't give up. He'll regroup, maybe with other rogues, and challenge again. But we're stronger now together." He kissed her forehead, lingering as if to seal the vow. "You've healed me, Elara. The curse, the loneliness, it's lighter with you." She smiled, pressing a soft kiss to his lips, the bond flaring with warmth. "You've healed me too. I was running from my past, but you gave me a home." Their kisses deepened, slow and deliberate, each touch a testament to the trust they'd forged through storms and battles. The cabin felt like a sanctuary, a place where their love could take root. But the forest's pulse whispered of unresolved dangers. As morning light filtered through the windows, Thorne rose, pulling her with him. "The pack needs us today. We solidify your role as Luna, show them our strength." He explained the final step, a gathering to affirm her place, a public vow before the pack to cement their bond's legitimacy. "It's tradition, but also a shield against Luka's lies." Elara nodded, resolve stealing her. "Let's do it. No more hiding." She touched the pendant, its hum a quiet encouragement. They dressed, Thorne in a fresh shirt, Elara in one of his, the oversized fabric carrying his scent. Hand in hand, they stepped into the crisp morning, the forest alive with birdsong and the pack's distant calls. The pack gathered in the grove, the stone altar still bearing traces of their ritual blood. Wolves and human forms mingled, their eyes on Elara, some warm, others cautious but no longer hostile. Thorne stood tall, his presence commanding, claws retracted, but authority radiating. "Brothers, sisters," he began, voice resonating. "Elara is our Luna, chosen by fate, blessed by the moon. She fought for us, stood against rogues. Who stands with her?" A chorus of howls rose, strong and unified, drowning out the few hesitant growls. An elder wolf, gray-furred and wise-eyed, approached, bowing to Elara. "You've proven your heart," she said, human now, her voice gravelly. "The pack accepts you." Tears pricked Elara's eyes, the weight of acceptance overwhelming. She stepped forward, Thorne at her side. "I'm new to your ways," she said, voice steady, "but I'll learn, fight, and protect this pack as my own. With Thorne, we'll keep the balance." The pack howled again, louder, sealing her place. Thorne pulled her into a kiss, public yet intimate, his pride palpable. The bond thrummed, a golden light in her mind, connecting her to him and the pack's collective spirit. For the first time, she felt truly home, the wounds of Marcus's betrayal fading into memory. But as the ceremony ended, a scout burst into the grove, panting. "Luka's been sighted near the river, with rogues. He's rallying for one last strike." Thorne's growl was low, dangerous. "He dares challenge now?" He turned to Elara, conflict in his eyes. "Stay with the elders. I'll end this." "No," she said fiercely, gripping his hand. "We face him together." Luna and Alpha united, the pack rallied, moving as one to the river's edge. Luka stood there, flanked by a dozen rogues, his black fur gleaming as he shifted. "Your human will fall," he roared, lunging at Thorne. The clash was brutal, fur and blood flying, but Elara acted on instinct, grabbing a silver dagger from a pack member. When a rogue targeted her, she slashed, the pendant flaring to guide her strike. The rogue yelped, retreating. Thorne overpowered Luka, pinning him as the rogues scattered. "Yield or die," he snarled, claws at Luka's throat. Luka whimpered, submitting, and the pack's howls declared victory. Exiled permanently, Luka slunk away, his threat broken. As the sun climbed, the pack dispersed, leaving Elara and Thorne by the river. He pulled her close, bloodied, but whole. "It's over," he said, kissing her fiercely. "You're my Luna, my love forever." They returned to the cabin, the forest settling into peace. Elara looked out at the pines, her hand in Thorne's, the pendant warm against her skin. "This is our home now," she said, smiling. "Human, wolf, it doesn't matter. We're together." Thorne nodded, his eyes soft. "A new dawn, for us and the pack." They kissed, the bond eternal, ready to face whatever the wild brought next.